still have 2.5 more hours. I've been driving for 2.5 in one direction. Alrighty, so after driving from 5:30 in the morning until about 11, finally got to the junkyard where the OM606 supposedly was. And we got there, and sure enough, it was there. Got the exhaust manifold, turbo, flywheel, factory starter. Everything's here basically. They just cut some wires and undid the connections. Got a little bit of oil dripping there from the cooler line. But yeah, 606 and the C4 coming soon, so stay tuned. Definitely going to get a Benz Force built pump. I talked to them. They said we'll have to get rid of this because those little plastic clips are no good. So we're gonna get a different filter housing. I believe he said from a 603. So that'll be addressed. Pump will be addressed for more power. Potentially gonna look into this, seeing if we can do something different, if this is close to the brake booster and all that, because there is another option that has recently been discovered by a good buddy of ours. More than likely going to be getting a new manifold from Benz Force as well. They offer an extremely nice one that gets rid of this triangle for the turbo mount and is a T3 mount, much nicer than this OG manifold. Definitely going to get a better turbo. Going to fabricate some custom engine mounts with the plates that are already cut out from Benz Force, so we don't have to worry about making templates out of cardboard, transferring it to metal, cutting those out, making sure all the holes are all drilled. It's already cut out extremely nice. So manifold, turbo, turbo feed, turbo drain, engine plates, engine mounting plates, sorry, injection pump, fuel filter housing. If we keep this oil cooler, we're going to get the lines that he makes. And I believe there is a fuel heater somewhere on here that will be bypassing that as well with the Benz Force plate. And then be capping this off and getting rid of a bunch of things that we don't need. I'm going to try to keep the AC compressor and make that function, because that would be nice. I hate driving around in a vehicle, even when it's fun to drive and not having AC. Power steering pump, I'm going to check out the pressures, see what this thing's rated for. Should be just fine. I would imagine the C4 is a lot lighter than the 99 E300D this came out of, just given the fact the C4 is 90% fiberglass, I would say. So the weight should be less than the car, so this should be plenty good. We'll just get an adapter that'll go in there, hose this to the steering on the car, some new radiator hoses, oil cooler lines. The fan is extremely tight on this thing. I never realized how good they designed that. Definitely gonna try to get a different alternator on this thing. Might try to do the LS style like I have on the 617. That one worked really good, just had to modify it slightly, but this one already has the rib belt rather than the V-belt. But other than that, I think I'm going to leave the engine alone, other than valve springs and thermostat and like little miscellaneous gaskets and seals here and there, just so I have more peace of mind that this thing isn't going to leak, because it looks like the valve cover is a little bit of seepage. Maybe some things up there could be addressed as well. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Definitely been driving all day. Right now it's probably 10 o'clock at night. Granted, we had some chores we had to get taken care of as well, but basically drove 12 hours there and back to get this baby. So yeah, stay tuned if you want to see some nasty high horsepower 606 action in a Corvette. Subscribe. It's definitely going to be happening pretty soon. Definitely huge help with all of the Ben's Force parts that we're going to be getting. So we have pretty good access to getting those sooner than later. Okay, so with the availability of the Ben's Force parts and the fact that they even make such great things, it's definitely going to help us build happen a lot sooner, especially with getting these. We don't have to worry about cutting these, bringing them to a machine shop, getting some weird hoses made, scrap these, put on the plates on there. It should go pretty fast with the Ben's Force stuff. Another thing that I just now remember to speak about is the front sump. You can get a oil pan, oil pump, and oil pickup from a 648, I believe. Could be wrong, pretty sure I'm right. And then that makes it a rear sump. And then, yeah, that'll be a lot more room up in the front where the cross member is, but in the factory application in the C4, the crank itself was almost behind the subframe, and with this one being about 3 inches longer, we should still have plenty of room. We will not be needing this fan. We're going to use the factory fan on the radiator, hopefully work with Mishimoto and get a nice new aluminum radiator, flush the cooling system really good, and put the OE recommended coolant back in this thing. And this thing should be a ripper very soon, I believe. For the transmission, still up in the air. I think from my research, we might be going to a Dodge 8 HP 70, I believe it is. They're rated for a lot of power, very dependable, surprisingly, because they're a Dodge product and I've never heard of a transmission being good from them. But from all my research that I've done today, they're a pretty stout unit, relatively available, fairly cheap, strong right out of the car, even from a junkyard. It should be a ripper. I'm definitely going to have to make a cross member and a brace somehow, because the C4 has the C channel, like a torque arm brace from the transmission to the rear diff that bolts to the side of the transmission. Since the car's fiberglass, there's really nowhere to mount a good mount to. So yeah, stay tuned. We're gonna tear into this thing probably tomorrow and pull off the unnecessary things like little heater hose. And yeah, check the condition of this thing. We don't know the mileage. I asked the guy we got it from. He hasn't said anything back yet. I should have definitely got the VIN number and I could have just looked it up, but at this point I'm really not worried about it. Got a really good deal on this thing, and it's going to be pretty nasty once we're done building this thing up how we want to. So stay tuned if you want to see it.